The A-beam is a patented composite beam of steel and concrete manufactured by the company Anstar Limited. The beam has been designed as a load-carrying beam in floor slabs within composite building frames. The tubular section is made of steel plates and is filled with concrete in plant conditions. This way, the composite action between concrete and steel will guarantee the structure a good bending and torsional stiffness during assembly, adding to working safety. Because of its rigidity, the A-beam needs no supports during assembly of prefabricated deck elements. The A-beam, cast inside the floor deck, is meant for buildings where the load-carrying frame is made of concrete or steel, or of a composite structure of both materials. The columns can be made several stories high. The A-beam having a single span and being joined to the column with the hidden AEP steel bracket. The A-beam can also be manufactured as a continuous Gerber beam going through the column line. The beam support is then situated in the span and the columns are 1 story high. The beam section is carrying loads together with the reinforced concrete structure. The bending capacity can be controlled by the use of rebars. Around the upper flange you can see the rebars, which will secure the bonding of concrete to the tubular steel section. The rebars in the lower section, inside the stirrups, are designed considering the needed bending capacity and fire safety regulations. The rebars can be pre-tensioned, which adds to the bending capacity. The height of the A-beam section can be varied depending on the needed capacity and structural requirements. The column joints of the A-beam are made using the Anstar hidden AEP bracket system. No weldings or bolts are needed for the column-to-beam joint. The hidden bracket system has no parts protruding from the mold, and the load-carrying support is assembled to the column at the prefab plant. The AEP bracket system suits concrete and steel columns, walls and beam-to-beam joints. To join column to columns or columns to foundations, the Anstar AK column shoes and threaded bars are used. The A-beams can be assembled quickly. The beams are lifted straight from lorry to column bracket. During assembly, the beams are lifted above column brackets and lowered straight onto the bracket. The nominal distance between column surface and beam and plate is 20 millimeters. The beam can be moved horizontally so that the actual joints on both beam ends are equal. Then the bracket joint is locked by driving wedge parts into the bracket housing. After wedging, the column-to-beam joint is stiff against torsion, and assembly of deck slabs can start. Assembly of deck elements is planned so that the slabs can be assembled in turn on both beam sides. This way you can minimize the torsional loads transferred by the beam. It's also possible to assemble the deck elements on one side only without supporting the beam. In this case, the beam is wedged into a tilted position against the torsional load. The deck joint reinforcement can easily be placed. No holes are needed. When the reinforcement is in place, all joints will be cast. The floor deck should not be loaded before casting. In the final structure, the A-beam will act together with the deck elements and surface grout. The A-beam has been designed for use with 200 to 500 mm high hollow core deck slabs. Field of application: offices, public buildings, commercial buildings, apartments, car parks and industrial buildings. Advantages of using the A-beam: easy to assemble, up to fire resistance R180 without additional protection, excellent bending and torsional stiffness, no supports needed during assembly. The thin flange gives freedom to use the space below the beam. Deck slabs can be assembled on one beam side only. A-beam plus hidden brackets equals no welds, no bolts. The tubular section is cast in good plant conditions. Placing of joint reinforcement is easy. Reliable bond between steel and surface concrete. Quick connection techniques. Surface coating with primer or hot dip galvanization. Certified quality management system according to SFS-EN ISO 9001. Certified environmental management system according to SFS-EN ISO 14001. Beams are designed according to Eurocode standards. Computer-designed program for all loading cases. The A-beam is an economical beam solution for concrete and composite building frames.